let's talk about our hot picks.
Well, right now, we are ideally looking at the favorites being Brad Keselowski, Chase Elliott, and Ryan Blaney. I did leave obviously I leave certain drivers off the table on purpose for a reason. For contenders, I'm looking at Chris Buescher, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Kevin Harvick. Underdogs, I'm looking at Eric Jones, Ryan Preece, and Eric Almirola.
What about Reddick?
See, that's one driver I'm not entirely sure about, because if he's going to be up front, he's going to have a lot of Toyota help. I've never seen Reddick be much of a super speedway racer, unless I've been sleeping under a rock and missed something.
Okay. Well, I just have to throw his name in the hat because, you know, we never know with him.
Well, the few drivers I circled, unless one I almost added on and threw away one of the three names I mentioned before. Actually, two of them would have to be Joey Logano and Kyle Busch. I know we've said Kyle Busch is not a big Talladega person, but while his average finish says otherwise, which is a 19.9, he has 2 wins, 8 top 5s, and 10 top 10s. So he knows how to win here. Joey Logano, on the other hand, also knows how to win here. And he's another one where his average finish may not say much, but his 3 wins, 9 top 5s, and 11 top 10s also say something as well.
I didn't realize Kyle had that many wins here. That's interesting. I think that I could put Logano as a contender and Busch as an underdog.
I was thinking about sliding them up one notch. Put Logano as a favorite and Busch as a contender. Only because this is super speedways is where Ford shines.
Okay.
And looking at Talladega, Ryan Blaney has been one of those that runs very well here. But normally, as long as you have a teammate behind you, it's hard to get pushed across the line. And I know there's Ford, Chevy alliances, Toyota tries to pair up with somebody in the heat of the moment type of deal, but you always want to have a teammate behind you. And I feel like with Ryan Blaney, he's going to bring somebody with him. And honestly, if I were Blaney, I would be bringing Logano with me. I would be sitting down with Logano and say, look, I know Talladega. Between the two of us, we have 5 wins together. I would have to look at Logano as a favorite of some sort.
All right. I think I can get on board with that. Put Logano as a favorite and Busch as a contender.
Another contender we could look at is, I want to put in there, is Ross Chastain.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. Can't rule him out. What about Suarez?
Yeah, it's a good thing you mentioned, because we mentioned Blaney and Logano as a team. You know Chastain's going to have to bring somebody. I could easily see Suarez as an underdog, per se.
Mm-hmm. He's done okay at big tracks like this.
Yeah, he's been one that he's been one where he knows how to find himself in the right spots. I wouldn't necessarily say the race-winning spots, but he knows how to put himself in the right spots in the right situations should things play into his hands. And like I said, you're in a situation, and with Suarez, yeah, he's not racing for a championship or anything, but you know, in this type of season, not only are you going to follow manufacturer orders, you're going to want to follow team orders to the best of your ability.
Right.
And like I said with Blaney and Logano, Chastain's going to want Suarez with him.
Right. So the other name I want to throw out is Bubba Wallace. I notice we don't have any Toyotas up top.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I wasn't I was sort of thinking Bubba, but I was thinking somebody in the Toyota camp, but a little higher up, who has the ability on the super speedways.
Hamlin.
There you go. He's got two. He has 2 wins, 10 top 5s, 15 top 10s. He does have Daytona. He does have, what is it, 3 or 4 Daytona 500s?
Right.
He's obviously got the knack for super speedways, and it's odd to see that, because really, looking at this list, he's the only Toyota to talk about. And in terms of stat-wise, everybody in the Toyota camp doesn't even touch him. I could easily throw Denny Hamlin as a favorite, being that we do have a spot open.
Okay.
Bubba Wallace, I don't want to – we can certainly talk about him. If we were to throw him on the list, I could put him as a contender. I don't necessarily want to put him as an underdog, only because I feel like Bubba does well at super speedway races.
He does. And he's got a chip on his shoulder after last weekend. So whether he takes that and works with it or lets it hold him down is what remains to be seen.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's gonna have to enter Talladega with the right mindset, because we all know if you enter yes, you can enter this race saying that anything can happen, but I feel like in super speedway races, if you enter this race with the wrong mindset, you're not going anywhere.
Exactly. And so can he get himself out of the funk of the loss of this past weekend and get into that right mindset? That's going to be the factor on how he does this weekend.
Another underdog we have not mentioned is somebody who has won on a super speedway, and that is Michael McDowell.
You can never rule out McD on a super speedway. That's my opinion.
Apparently you couldn't rule him out at Texas, and you know what? Looking at last week's picks for Texas, when I saw Craig pick McDowell, I'm pretty sure my jaw dropped to the floor and there was an earthquake because I couldn't believe he picked him. And you know what? He in moments where you don't expect McDowell, that's when he shows.
Right, exactly. And he no longer has the pressure of a championship, so he's all out for winning the race.
And he already knows he's guaranteed a top 16 points finish anyway. So he knows that front row and his 34 team are going to be in good hands for at least for next year.
Right.
But again, there's a lot of storylines. We threw in a lot of drivers that are not in the playoffs, but we're in the playoffs. Talladega is going to have storylines. We already have plenty of storylines going in, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot going out. As we've mentioned, Joey Logano's out of the playoffs, but he's a favorite for Talladega. He may be out of the playoffs, but he's got a teammate that's in it.
Right.
He's going to try to do what he can to put Ryan Blaney into the next round. Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick, they're on the same team. You know that, yes, both of them want to get into the next round, but you know that they're going to have to follow team orders. And I'm sure Denny Hamlin's going to be right with them too, saying that if you guys want to move on to the next round, then let's work together. And I'm sure that they've got the orders of let's work together. And once the last lap comes, it's fair game.
Right.
And we know Byron being safe, question's going to be, is he going to try to rack up the points that he may want for next round? Or is he going to help push Larson and Chase to not only get them to the next round of the Drivers' Championship, but the Owners, because Chase Elliott is running the Owner playoffs. And of course, there's the RFK duo. They've been riding momentum. I don't think they're going to slow down anytime soon.
No, they're going to keep pushing each other. They're going to make sure one of those cars gets in the Final Four. At this point, I don't think they care which one. I think they just want to make sure one of them makes it.